What are you doing when you are about to take a massive risk in your life and you're kind of scared?
You can't grow if you stay in your comfort zone. You should feel really uncomfortable because that's how you learn.
Do you sit with your emotions to feel them?
I feel it. Feelings are just feelings, they pass. By their nature, they pass. This is just a feeling I'm having right now. It's not fact. I know that this feeling will pass.
People will manifest and say, I want this life for myself, but won't actually make the progress to do it.
They know the things they want to do, but they're not yet doing it because they're currently being confined by their fears and doubts, by their insecurities. It's about this breaking through and pushing past the limits of your mind.
I'm Leana and This is Being Human. I'm glad you're here. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Being Human. I am your host, Leana and and today we have someone who is incredibly aspirational. She has built a community of millions of women across the world. She has inspired them to manifest more self-worth, self-love, to just be a better individual and to really take control of their life and help them achieve the life they want, essentially. And she is not only an aspirational person, but she is also an author of 4 amazing books. And honestly, I really resonate with her story because she has been through so much, and I'm just so excited for you guys to tune in today. Thank you so much, Roxy, for coming on today.
God, thank you so much for having me. What a lovely intro.
Thank you.
And I can't believe you did it without autocue. I'm very impressed.
First off, you are from a background that is kind of similar to mine. And after learning about your story, you grew up in the UK, right?
Yeah, in Oxford.
In Oxford, okay. And so did you always live here your whole life?
So I was born in Saudi, in Jeddah.
Oh, you were born in Saudi?
Yes, yeah. And I'm, both my parents are Iraqi. So my dad is from Mosul and my mom is from Baghdad. And, we moved to Oxford when I was 6 months old. So it's really all I know is growing up in the UK. And yeah, I would say, my mom is very devout Muslim. I came from a very Muslim household. And growing up in the UK, especially in the 1990s, I was born in 1990, being different was really a thing. You didn't have lots of different races. It wasn't multicultural. And so I felt very different from a very young age. I became very conscious early on of my big, dark, curly hair, the dark circles under my eyes, my olive skin tone, the fact that when I'd go on holiday, I'd go really dark. I remember really wanting to avoid the sun as a kid because I didn't want my skin to tan. And so you notice these things really early on. And I think that as a child, all you want to do is fit in. It's so instinctive in a way that we just want to be part of this tribe, and it must come from evolution. And then what happened, obviously the tragic events of 9/11 happened. And the media really turned on Muslims. Islamophobia was a real thing. And I got horrifically bullied for being Iraqi. And there was one occasion where I was locked in a phone box and they chanted Saddam at me and they trapped me in there for hours until my mom found me. And, I think that led to the depression that I went through from the age of 12. But at the same time, there's this rejection happening at school, but then I have these very, very strict parents who don't want me talking to boys, who don't want me going out, who don't want any of this. So I'm being rejected by my peers, but I'm also rejecting my family because I feel like they're stopping me live this Western life that I'm trying to live. And so it's really confusing, I think. And it started this real rejection and this kind of identity crisis at a really, really young age. And I suppose the kind of symptom of all of this ended up being that I actually changed my name from Rowan, which is my real name, to Roxy, when I was 12. Yeah, because I was going to a new school because the bullying had got so bad. And only looking back now, I'm that's when I moved away from who I was and tried to mold myself into who I thought I should be.
Wow. That's heartbreaking, the fact that you went through that at such a young age. Because I grew up in a Muslim household as well. And obviously I'm half Hispanic and my mom looks a bit white.
Right.
And my dad, he looks Arab, but I feel like since I didn't wear hijab, I also kind of had a similar relationship to kind of rejecting the culture, the faith as well. I remember wanting to just go against my parents all the time. And so I never grew up getting bullied in terms of the way that I looked. I always tried to be considered white, though. I would tell people that I'm just like American because I didn't want to be an outsider either. Did you ever try to like...
Well, when I changed my name to Roxy, it was so that people wouldn't assume I was Arab when they first met me. I didn't try and pretend I was white because it was so obvious I wasn't. But I would tell people I was from Jordan, because my mum's family had all moved to Jordan during the Iraqi war. And Iraq was like the worst of the Arabs at that time. And so I was like, well, I can't say I'm from Iraq. So I had to say I felt I had to say I was from Jordan. And I would say I did that for about 10 years. You know, it was only when I got to about 20 that I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, and now I like couldn't be prouder to be Iraqi, and I couldn't be prouder of my culture and my heritage. And so it's amazing to feel that way now. And it's sad. Like, I feel sad for the younger me that felt that I was embarrassed of where I was from. And I think so many people actually can relate to that.
Yeah. And with your parents now, how do they, how did they feel about you becoming like a social media icon, like, you know, like doing things, even manifestation, right? It's something that our parents won't quite comprehend a little bit. And I think even myself, I'm big into vision boarding and I love speaking out things into existence. I obviously bring things back to like God and stuff, but I feel like it's not, a lot of people think that they can't coexist.
Yeah.
And so I guess, how do you kind of think about manifestation in a way? Is it like the universe? Is it God?
I think it's such a good question. So for me, when I think about the universe, I just think about energy, because we know from quantum physics that everything in the universe is made up of energy, whether it's the sky above us, the chair we're sat on. And the only thing that really differentiates one thing from another is the density and the frequency of the vibration of the atoms. And so I believe that there is this like incredible power of the universe and that it is greater than us. But for some people, that greater power is God, or it is a spiritual realm. And so you can call it whatever it is best for you. And I think that to the question of, you know, what do my parents think? I think that, you know, I think manifestation has so many parallels with Islam and all religion. You know, there's the idea of prayer, you know, and having faith, which is really like step 7, trust in the universe. Like, can you just trust blindly that everything is working out for you? You know, the idea of the universe has your back. It's the same as God does. You know, God is looking out for your best interests. The idea of speaking kindly to yourself and others, you know, raising your vibration through an abundant mindset. You know, gratitude is a huge part of it. You know, my mum used to say this phrase to me in Arabic, which would translate as, for every thanks you give, you get 1,000 in return. You know, that is my step 5, embrace gratitude. And so even align your behavior, you know, like in the Quran, correct me, I mean, I'm not as well versed, but they talk about the importance of work and purpose and applying yourself. That's step 3, align your behavior. And so I think they are so closely intertwined and they can absolutely coexist. And my dad, I mean, he was teaching me about quantum physics from the age of 5 and the power of your mindset. He was constantly talking to me about how to develop a positive mindset, and he couldn't have been prouder. I mean, he was showing my book to absolutely everyone. He'd walk around the streets with it behind his back as his own little marketing campaign. His every Facebook, you know, was about it. And so he was incredibly proud. My mum is so proud, but has never read any of the books, thank God, because if she had, she would know a lot more about me than I think she'd want to. So I had been suffering depression throughout my teens, and I didn't know it at the time because people weren't talking about depression the way that they are now, or mental health in general. And I found that what happened was I discovered alcohol and drugs, cocaine specifically. And what happened is that when I took those substances, I felt good, and I didn't know what it was like to feel good. And that became very, very addictive to me. And so by the time I was 21, I was already in Narcotics Anonymous. I didn't stay in it because I felt like I went into these meetings and everybody else was, you know, let's say on harder drugs than me. And so I thought, oh, well, I'm fine. I clearly don't have a problem because I'm not taking heroin, like, you know, which is actually a really dangerous mindset. So anyway, I carried on in this sort of very hedonistic party lifestyle, completely controlled really by drugs until I was 28. And so it was a decade really of addiction. And I think that what comes with that is incredible shame, a lot of regret, a ton of self-loathing. And at the other side of every substance high is a come down. And so it's really no way to live. And with that, I was in lots of toxic relationships. I wasn't working. I didn't have any purpose. I didn't have any drive. I really was completely lost.
Were you living at home at the time?
No, I had a flat in London because my parents had moved to Dubai when I was 17. So they had left us all in England. I was like very up for that because I was like, great, I can have free holidays to Dubai whenever I want. And I was originally living with my sister in London, but then she moved to Dubai. My other sister and brother were around in different parts of the UK. So it was kind of, I was like free in a way. I was like, great, I'm just going to party and this is my life. And yeah, then I hit a rock bottom, I would say, in May 2018. It was this kind of point where I just felt like I'd done everything I could to try and change and nothing had worked. And so I called a friend of mine and she was like, oh, babe, like you should just listen to this podcast on manifesting. And I was like, okay, I'll try anything. So I listened to a podcast and something just clicked. And from that moment on, basically everything in my life changed.
There's so much to unpack here. Yeah. So I want to start off with, you listened to a podcast. That's what really changed it all for you.
Yeah.
Do you think it was like divine timing a little bit? Like, was it a moment in your life where you realized, okay, this needs to change now? Because, you know, some people want to change, but they keep falling back. Is it a consistent like shift right away? Or was it kind of like you found the podcast and it was like you tried, fell back a little bit, kept trying? Or was it just an instant like switch in the brain?
What had happened was I had tried to change many, many times. And I think anyone that's got any kind of addiction or has known addiction to any capacity, that could be to shopping, to social media, to whatever it is, you'll know that you try to give up multiple times. And I had been that person. What clicked for me when I listened to this podcast, and the reason it made such an impact on me, was because what I discovered was that manifestation, which, by the way, my definition of manifesting is using the power of your mind to change and create the reality you experience. And what I learned in this podcast was that we manifest from what we subconsciously believe we are worthy of receiving. And so if you believe you are worthy of love and abundance and joy and happiness, you will attract it into your life. But if you don't, then you won't. And in that moment, I was like, okay, like I have no self-worth. I don't believe I'm worthy of love. I don't believe I'm worthy of abundance or happiness or joy or any of these things. And so I am keeping myself stuck. And so what was really happening was that I was taking myself from victim mentality into somebody that was going to take responsibility for my happiness. And I think that that is the defining point in anyone's life, is that when you kind of decide, I am going to take responsibility for my happiness and my life. And that can be really challenging for a lot of people, and it can be really confronting because it's easier to be victim to our circumstances, to other people. And it's a lot more, it's a lot more confronting to say, do you know what? Actually, I'm the one who has to do something about this. And so what happened was I went away and I started researching manifestation, and I started with like, how can I start to change the beliefs I have about myself? And I went on my research journey. I discovered affirmations, and I figured that if I would just fall asleep to positive affirmations, then I might be able to rewire what I believed, because as you're falling asleep, your brain is in this really susceptible brainwave theta state. So I went and listened to these affirmations, and I was trying to do this work myself. I'd created this really clear goal of the kind of relationship and person I wanted to call in. And a few weeks later, on the 7th of June, 2018, this man named Wade messaged me on a dating app. And a year to the day, on the 7th of June, 2019, our baby boy Wolf was born.
Wow.
Now, what's really interesting, and actually I've never, ever shared this before, but I'll share it with you, is that when I met Wade, it was like so instant. So 5 days in, he basically moved in with me.
Oh, wow.
And he was from Australia, and he didn't know anyone in the UK. So if he was going to stay in Australia, we had to live together, right? And I was like, shit, my parents won't let me live with someone unless I'm Islamically married. So we had an Islamic wedding.
Really?
7 weeks after knowing each other. Because I was like, well, I want to be with this person and I want to. Anyway, we did this Islamic wedding, and within a week, we had unknowingly conceived Wolf.
Wow.
And thank God we'd had the Islamic marriage first.
I feel like a lot of people go through these situations.
Yes. That is divine timing, if ever there was. Anyway, but what happened was after we'd been together 3 months, I realized I was pregnant, and it was definitely not sort of, okay, now I'm pregnant and now life is amazing. The pregnancy was incredibly challenging for me. My mental health declined rapidly. I wasn't completely sober when I got pregnant. I was trying to give up, but it was a journey. I was still smoking 25 cigarettes a day. So I had to give up everything very quickly overnight. And what came up was all the pain that I'd been suppressing for the last, few decades. And I turned to binge eating. I gained like 70 pounds. I stopped leaving the house. My body dysmorphia disorder became louder than ever. It was this severe self-loathing. I thought that I was like a monster. It was just a very dark time in my life, but I sort of decided that I was just going to use my every spare minute to learn everything I could about self-development and healing and manifestation. Not for, at this point, anything to do with my career, but for myself. I just wanted to heal. I wanted to change. I made this vow to myself that when I have this baby, I'm going to make my life the best it can be. And so I just went in, and it's true, when Wolf was born, I always say like Wolf is like my lucky charm, because every good thing in my life has happened since he came along.
May God bless him.
Yeah, he's honestly the best.
So when it comes to your fitness journey, one of the main things that I struggle with is getting in enough protein. And when it comes to protein powders, I have been in a journey where I'm really aware of all the things that I'm putting into my body. And that's where True Nutrition is making an impact in the protein powder space, because you can create your own protein powder. You know exactly what is going into the formula that you want. You take a questionnaire where you talk about what your goals are for fitness, the things that you might struggle with. It may be gluten, dairy, different kinds of ingredients, and it basically helps you create a product that is perfect for you. So I have been in love with this brand, and I've tried so many different protein shakes, and nothing actually ever comes close to True Nutrition. So how it works is, step 1, you are going to pick your base. So there's 20 different protein options: whey, plant, dairy-free, all third-party tested, which is so important, and it's also first-party verified and the highest quality. Step 2, you're going to choose your flavor. So there's 28 different flavors sweetened with stevia or monk fruit. You can create it to be light, regular, or heavy when it comes to the sweetness level. Step 3, you can add your boosts. So extras like collagen, fiber, probiotics, aminos, electrolytes, and even lion's mane. Like, I added different kinds of mushrooms to my protein because I was like, okay, why not? So it's so cool. In step 4, you can pick your delivery frequency. So you can have it on a consistent basis and subscribe, which is probably the best choice if you're trying to be consistent and you're taking this product on a consistent basis. The whole process only takes a few minutes, so I highly recommend you try True Nutrition. It's taken me so many years to find a protein that I actually enjoy. And this is non-GMO, no fillers, no additives, no gluten. One of the only mixes that really helps my stomach. And again, I've been talking about so many stomach issues, so that's why I have fallen in love with this brand. So if you want to try True Nutrition, head to truenutrition.com/Leana and use code Leana for 20% off your first custom protein blend. That's truenutrition.com/Leana. Go build your own mix and take 20% off. And honestly, once you try this protein, you are never going to want to go back. I hope you enjoy the protein, and let's get back into the episode.
So I want to start off with like relationships. In our culture, a lot of women want to get married right away, right? It's like such a big thing that you're brought up. It's like, just get married and have kids. We're not really in this, I guess now it's becoming more common of like women get careers and like, don't make a man a priority the first thing, like have something for yourself. When you found Wade, I don't know if you guys are still together now or not, but like, was that a point where you were like manifesting the right partner for you?
Oh my God, yeah. The first date, I was like, I've manifested you. He was like, what? But no, we're not together now, by the way, but we are best friends. And we're just incredibly close. And he is my family still, and he's very close with my family, and we spend tons of time together. But no, at the time, all I wanted was love. At that point, I had no career. And actually, my view on relationships was so different then. I just wanted someone to save me, I think. And actually, when we met, we were both very lost souls, that found each other. And it was definitely, we were just meant to be. I mean, it is crazy. I mean, he's from Australia. There's no way on earth we would ever have met each other.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bizarre, really. Like, it's one in a million, like that kind of like meeting. It was so fateful in the best possible way. And I think that, yeah, that is what I wanted at the time. But what's really interesting is that if I hadn't, I'll be really honest, when I was at that point in my life, I wanted to meet someone with money. I thought that was how relationships were. The
Same.
woman was the housewife and the man made the money. And because that's how I grew up. And I didn't think I could make a career for myself and have a life of luxury on my own accord. I was like, I have to marry someone for that. Then I met Wade, who had no money at all. And I was like, okay, but I really love him. And if I hadn't met Wade and I had met someone that I thought would give me what I needed, my life would be completely different. Because I met Wade and I wanted to just be in love and have a family, I decided to make it for myself. And it was the best thing I ever did.
I feel like you're speaking to me right now, like really to me, because I guess I'm in a similar journey of like, I was just posting on social media thinking that like, you know, maybe I'm going to find a man through like DMs or something like that. Later on, once I started like really locking into my career. And I think the same thing of like, it's not going to work out, or maybe is a man going to feel insecure if a woman, like, did you ever come across times where being self-employed, being a successful woman intimidate a lot of men? Do you find it harder now?
Totally. Oh my God, okay, I have so much to say on this.
Okay.
Okay, firstly, what I would say is that dating when you are more successful or you don't feel like you need someone to give you financial support or whatever it might be, changes things on many levels. Firstly, what you are attracted to changes. And so what I have found is that someone who I may have been attracted to for their like bravado or the way that they like flash their wealth or whatever, or their, you know, faux confidence, which was actually arrogance, that would have like appealed to me before. Now it just doesn't. So the kind of person I'm attracted to is very, very different because I've just not got any interest in it, right? That's not enough for me. I want someone who I have genuine chemistry with, who I find intellectually stimulating, who I find attractive. And so who you like changes. You will intimidate the wrong partner. Like there will, of course, I think that, you know, people like to be needed, okay? And I think if somebody wants to be needed in that way, then they're not going to go after someone who's successful in their own right. But I wouldn't want that kind of person anyway. I think that having financial independence is very freeing, and it gives you the choice to find someone who you really feel this like deep connection with. But what I would say also is it's like now what I'm really looking for is like emotional security. I want someone who's consistent. I want someone who's adoring. I want someone I can have fun with. So if you're not going to give me any of those things, you're out. Whereas before, I probably would have let it off because I'd think like, but they provide me in other ways, or I feel like indebted to them in other ways. So I'm going to let off the fact that they can't show up for me consistently. Whereas now I'm like, that's the one thing you got to do.
Do you take into consideration of like a man being a provider now?
God, no.
Okay, no, so not at all.
Not. Because I'm like, my life is so abundant and I really just want to find love for love. And I think, but look, what I also will say is like, I know I'm in an unbelievably privileged position, and I also understand that need for like wanting to find someone who can provide for you if you feel that you are not able to. But what I hope is that in all the work that I do, I can empower more and more women to recognize that they have so much potential in them that they just might not have seen before.
And do you go through feelings of loneliness still? No. And how did you, I guess, overcome that feeling?
I think it's a few things. I have incredible friends. You know, I never had friends growing up. Like I was always the outcast. Like I didn't have good friends. Any friends I had were not very nice to me. I have worked so hard over the last 3 years to find incredible friends and really nurture those friendships. So I have amazing friends around me. I have an amazing team around me who I get to spend and talk to all day, every day. My life is so full in so many ways. Like I don't feel like there is a gap in it. I also have my son, and that is like a love like no other. Do I still want love, romantic love? Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, I've actually just come out of a dating experience, and it didn't end in the best way, but it was fun and it reminded me how good it is. And that was a real like gift in a way, because I was like, oh yeah, like, because I was getting quite used to being single. And then I've come out of it and I'm like, oh no, it's really fun to have that like intimacy and connection with someone. And it is really special. And I'm so excited for the right person to give me that.
How would you say for, like, I guess a woman who is maybe struggling with these feelings, maybe expectation from family or society, is them working on their purpose maybe the smarter move to do?
I think it's really about understanding that our life has many different parts of it, right? And so when I ask people to make vision boards at the beginning of their manifesting journey, I actually tell everybody to categorize it. And so in both of my books, Manifest, 7 Steps to Living Your Best Life, and Manifest in Action, I have a step-by-step guide to how to make a vision board. And one of the first steps is split your board into 6 categories. And I think it's either you can do 4 categories or I offer the option of 6. But, think about career is one of them. Personal development is another. Your home might be another. Friendships and family might be another. Love and romance would be another, and then it might be travel and hobbies. What you realize is that love is just one of those categories. And I think it's really easy, especially when you're single, is that we make love a whole goal. It's everything. When I'm in a relationship, then I will be happy. Then I'll be not lonely anymore. Then I'll be enough. And actually, I think that is actually blocking us in many ways from attracting into our lives. And so it's, okay, let's just look at every other category of our lives. How can we set ourselves goals to make sure that we feel fulfilled in all those other areas? Because then that kind of search for someone isn't going to feel so weighted and heavy. So how can you find goals within your career? How can you find personal development goals, growth goals? It might be, you've just run the marathon on Sunday. That could have been, I'm sure that was an incredible goal. I'm sure you can attest for how fulfilling that was, the pursuit of it and the doing of it, the reaching of the goal. It could be that you really want to actually nurture those friendships in your life and spend more time with them. You want to spend more time with your family because you've, forgotten about them a little bit recently, or you haven't made them a priority. So I think it's like, how can you really see your life as a full picture and make sure that you're giving every part of it a little bit more of your attention?
No, I think vision boarding is honestly, it's something that's also changed my life. Like, I'm a big vision boarder. Every single year, I make it a priority to write down all my goals. And I look back and I've achieved so many things on my vision board.
Oh, I love that. They're magical, honestly. They really are.
I think a lot of people will manifest and say, I want this life for myself, but won't actually make the progress to do it. Does that lead into kind of like the second step after creating the vision board? Is that now, I know it's remove fears and doubts, and this is usually what gets in the way of us achieving our goals. Even yourself, you've taken so many risks, I'm sure, to get to where you are, and probably still doing many things where you fail at times. I guess the first thing is like, what are you doing when you do fail, or when you are about to take a massive risk in your life and you're kind of scared?
You can't grow if you stay in your comfort zone. And I truly believe that. It's like, if things feel good all the time, you're probably not doing it right. I think you should feel really uncomfortable because that's how you learn. It's like growing pains. And I think that, step 2, remove fear and doubt, is the most important step of the manifesting process, because this is about changing what you believe about yourself, because our belief system really is the lens through which we view the whole world. It will determine how we show up, how we respond to situations, how much risk we take. It impacts all our behavior and our interpretation of every experience that we have. So being able to understand your limiting beliefs and start to work through them is really important. And then step 3 is align your behavior. So this is about how can you then start to show up as the person that you want to become? There's this quote, like, fake it till you make it. But I say in the book, fake it till you become it. Like, you step into that version of yourself. Because if that version of you exists, it just needs to be brought to life. And that step is also about stepping outside your comfort zone. And there's that great quote, magic happens outside your comfort zone. And it's absolutely true. In everything that I've achieved, there has been a moment before where I've done something that I really didn't want to do, or that I really wasn't ready to do, but I did it anyway. And I think there's this real misconception that people make, when they're trying to achieve something, is they think, I'll do this when I'm ready. I'll do it when I feel confident enough. I'll do it when I have enough of this or that. Or, as women, how many times do we say, I'll wear this when I've lost some weight? when I feel good enough. It's like, what the fuck are we waiting for?
Yeah.
Just wear the damn thing, go out and do it. Like, do the thing you want to do. I think that I often say in my live shows, like, I ask everyone to think of a goal that they have, and then I ask them to think of what are 3 things you would need to do to reach that goal. And often people already know those things. They know, let's say they want to start a new business. I know I would need to post on social media once a week. I know I'd need to go and ask this client if, for X amount of money. I know I'd need to, put myself out there by asking for help. So they know the things they want to do, but they're not yet doing it because they're currently being confined by their fears and doubts, by their insecurities. And so it's about this like breaking through and pushing past, the limits of your mind.
Do you ever struggle with limiting beliefs now?
God, yeah. I mean, not to the same extent, and I don't let them control me. I think that's the thing, is it's like, I absolutely have days where I'm feeling not good about myself, or I'm feeling like I failed at something, or that there's been a dip in momentum, or, my standards are very high for myself now. And, and so inevitably there are going to be times I don't reach them, but I don't let it pull me down at a foundational level. I know it's a blip. I know it will pass. I use my tools, whether that's journaling, affirmations, talking to friends. I remind myself of I make a gratitude list, or a list of all the things that I'm proud of that I've achieved. I reframe, I speak to myself kindly. So I definitely feel it. And some days, if I'm hormonal, my God, my mental resilience is down.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm tired, if I'm burned out, my mental resilience is down. So it is a bit harder to get yourself back up, but you always do.
So I've been on a journey where I'm trying to wear less makeup and have a more natural look. And when it comes to finding makeup, I'm very peculiar about the things that I put onto my skin. And that's where Jones Road Beauty comes in. The products are so clean, they're so simple, and they give this natural girl energy. And I have been obsessed with their Miracle Balm. It's like a light blush that you can just put on your face, and it gives this instant glow. And I'm honestly so obsessed with just putting it on every single morning and adding it to my makeup routine. And it just gives such a natural look. So I highly recommend you look into their Miracle Balm. There's so many different colorways that you can use based off of your skin tone. I love the colors Chic, Pinky Bronze, and Cheeky. It's like a plum berry for medium to deep skin tones. But Jones Road Beauty is very diverse when it comes to making everyone feel included in the skin tones. All Jones Road formulas are clean and high performing. There's no sulfates, no petroleum, no PEGs, no silicones, no EDTAs or BPAs, because Jones Road Beauty is actually a clean beauty brand. So if you're trying to incorporate a more natural look into your routine, for a limited time, our listeners are getting a free full-sized mascara on their first purchase when you use code Leana at checkout. Just head to jonesroadbeauty.com and use code Leana at checkout. After your purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that our show, Being Human, sent you. And again, you can get a free mascara. So I hope you guys love the product. Let me know what you guys think about it, and let's get back into the episode.
Sometimes being a social figure, you kind of have to be this positive energy all the time, and it can be hard, especially when you're going through a period of burnout. So is that how do you fill your own cup? Is it, again, just journaling, or is it kind of taking time to yourself?
Look, I would say that the majority of the time I am incredibly positive, and I really have done so much work on myself. I do feel good a lot of the time. But for example, I just mentioned I just went through this dating experience. Anyone who's gone through dating and it's not worked out, it does not feel good.
No, it doesn't. It feels like a little bit like a heartbreak, but not as extreme. Yeah.
It feels absolutely like heartbreak. It's the chemical come down, right? And so your body is literally going through withdrawal. And so for those few days, I was really sad. I cried for the first time in a year, proper sobbed. And it didn't feel nice. But I knew it would pass, and I knew there was a lesson, and I knew there was something for me to learn. And I knew that this experience hadn't come from the universe to punish me, but to get me to where I need to go next. It taught me about what I'm looking for. It taught me what I'm not looking for. It reminded me of who I can be. I forgot that I could be this romantic, feminine, nurturing, soft side of myself because I've been so in my work mode. So it showed me and gave me so much. And that's not to say I didn't feel sad or have, this like down moment, but it's just that I knew what to do with that rather than allowing it to consume me.
So aligning your behavior and going through all these emotions that you're dealing with as a woman, what does discipline look like to you?
There's a really fine line with discipline. I think that we have to give ourselves grace sometimes. We need to give ourselves permission to just like feel the full spectrum of human emotions: sadness, anger, worry, guilt, fear. And sometimes you just need to let yourself do that, and you need to sit and get under the covers and eat your favorite snack and call your friend and watch funny memes on Instagram. Sometimes that is what you need. Sometimes you need to give yourself a kick up the butt, get to the gym, get outside and do what you got to do. And only you know the line. And the line is, when are you giving yourself grace and when are you indulging in your sadness? Don't indulge in it. The minute you're indulging, you've taken it too far, and that's not going to serve you. And I think, that takes real self-awareness and honesty with yourself of like, which line am I crossing here?
Yeah. Do you sit with your emotions when you like to feel them, or do you sometimes fill the void with noise or more work?
No, I feel it, yeah. I'm a very feeling person, so I feel everything. And I think it really helps because I know that, for example, I'll just come back to the experience because I'm going through it now. I know that when I'm completely out of it, I'm out of it. There's no like residual coming back to like bite me in the ass in a month, right? You know what I mean? And so I think that feeling it is good. And I like to name how I feel. I think it's very validating. It's a great way to process your emotions. Today I'm feeling sad. Today I feel rejected. Today I feel unlovable. Today I feel this. Feelings are just feelings. They pass. By their nature, they pass. And so I think when you can name them, it's actually a lot easier to realize this is just a feeling I'm having right now. It's not fact. It doesn't make it real. It's just something I'm experiencing. But I know that this feeling will pass.
So does alignment, because aligning your behavior, we're still on step 3. Does alignment mean sacrificing? So I mean sacrificing time. So if you're trying to start a new passion or a new side hustle, does that mean maybe not hanging out with friends as much or going out or even people in your corner, right? Sometimes you don't grow up with like a supportive family. Does that mean like sacrificing your relationship a little bit with them to not please them? And maybe this leads into like people pleasing and putting yourself first. But would you say that like you might have to sacrifice some things on this journey to realignment and aligning your behavior?
100%. I think that letting go is a constant theme in the manifestation process. So you have to let go of what you used to want or what other people want for you so that you can be clear in what you actually desire and what your goals really are. You have to let go of limiting beliefs, insecurities, feelings of low self-worth, those things that are holding you back from attracting what you want into your life. You have to let go of habits, behaviors, that aren't serving the person that you want to become, that aren't getting you where you want to go. And of course, you have to let go of people who are holding you back. And this is because our time and energy is not infinite, right? We have a finite amount, and so we have to use it wisely. And I think that it's a part of the process that I think people forget, but they really must prioritize. For me, I think that when it comes to sort of sacrifice, yes, I would say it absolutely is, but it's like reframing it. Like we call it sacrifice, but is it just a deep pursuit of your passion or purpose? Like, is it just deep, I just, when I think about where I've got to now in my career, I didn't get there by giving everything in my life the same amount of attention equally. I knew what I wanted, and yeah, that probably means I sacrificed quite a lot of my social life, but that was okay because I was so excited about where I was going. So if there is something, and my brother, I remember telling me, and he goes, these are the donkey years, they won't be forever. And they were the donkey years. For 5 years, I would say I did not stop for a second. I was either mum or I was at work, and that was it. That's all I did, truly all I did, night and day. And it's only really this year that I've found that balance, and it's such a different pace, and it's nice. It's a bit weird, but it's nice.
you did like personal coaching beforehand,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Before you started social media, or was it kind of like...
It was all kind of in the same time, but I would say it depends what you define as success. I felt successful almost straight away because I was finally doing something I enjoyed. That to me was success. I didn't feel, there was no point where I was like, oh, I'll be successful then. I think that's actually probably one of the things that has made me most magnetic in my career, because actually enjoying the journey is so much a part of it. It's about embracing gratitude. It's about, you define what is successful to you. I remember, someone telling me early on, like, enjoy this early bit because it's the best bit. And they were so right. The first interview, the first client, the first job, I'd get excited about, like the tiniest jobs, which now I wouldn't take, right? But then it was like, oh my God, you're going to pay me what to do what? And it was so exciting. And actually, like, the problem with the good and the bad of our brains, right, is that we habituate. So we desensitize to things. So it's impossible for us to feel as excited about something as time goes on because our brains just get used to them. And so in that beginning bit, you have this like unique period of time where everything is novel and new and exciting. So like embrace it, enjoy it. Don't wait for this moment to feel good about it. By then, you will have a sense of pride and confidence that it brings you, of course. But that joy and that euphoria really does come at the beginning.
And did you have like a gratitude mindset going in?
Always, yeah. I mean, developing a gratitude practice was probably the most life-changing thing that I did. I remember a period of time where it was like after my second book and I felt like the momentum had gone a bit and I was feeling a bit like in lack and things weren't coming in and I thought, oh my gosh, like what's happening? And I remember talking to my team and I was like, right, guys, every Friday we're going to do a gratitude list and we're going to write down all the good things that happen each week so I can remember it and we can remember it. And I'm telling you, within 2 weeks, the abundance just flowed in. And so really like practicing gratitude it's like the cheat code to manifestation.
And do you pray ever? Or is it kind of more meditation?
For me, it's like meditation. Yeah. So it's like setting my goals. It's, visualizing. It's just trying to connect with myself or the universe. So yeah.
Overcoming tests from the universe is step 4. Would you think of the universe as like a being a little bit? Or is it just an energy?
Yeah, to me it's like an energy. But this is it can be God, right? It can be. What I think with tests from the universe is this is really like all about challenges and obstacles, and it's about how you kind of persist through them. And I do think that the universe, God, whatever it is to you, it will keep like showing you the same lesson until it teaches you what you need to learn to like go to the next step of your life.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first heard that, I actually just found it so empowering. I was like, oh, that's why I keep doing this thing, or that's why this keeps happening, or so I keep going through this experience. And actually, I'm just not learning from it. I'm not taking what I need to. And when I did, I was like, oh, maybe that lesson has gone actually. But I think that this step is my favorite because life is always going to come with like challenges and obstacles. And it truly is how you frame them that really impacts how you feel.
How has it been, like, I guess, navigating relationships? I guess not really practicing Islam, right?
Yeah. It's hard. Look, my mum doesn't, like I said, she doesn't listen to or read any of my stuff. I think just because Arabic really is her first language. So it's just, she wouldn't.
Okay.
My dad was very, very open-minded. He believed he was a philosopher at heart. Like he really was a philosopher and he believed in God, but also in science. And, so he was very open-minded, I would say.
Yeah.
I struggle with the afterlife, I think. I don't know. But my dad passed away in October 2024, so a year and a half ago. And so, he was just so amazing. And I think that it's strange because I think in some ways I really feel like I get signs from him often. And so I'm like, there is something, like he is, actually it's so weird. I was reading my son's book yesterday. Like we read the encyclopedia book. And there was this statement in there. It's like energy cannot be destroyed or created. It can only be moved. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, I just remembered. I took a picture of it because I was like, I need to like explore this. This is such a like good way to like, of what I talk about often. And it really is like that. It's like Dad's energy couldn't have just gone, right? It's somewhere and it's coming back in different ways. So I see like different signs from him. And it's funny, like even my son, he is so connected to my dad. He calls him Jiddu, obviously. And he's always like, oh, Jiddu's here. He's watching, he's having his ice cream in heaven, and my son, we're not practicing Muslims, but my son has decided he's Muslim. He's 6, he tried fasting for 2 hours and keeps telling everyone about it. And he feels very connected. He's got a Quran in his bedroom, and, you know, it's really sweet. So, I don't know personally how I feel about it, but I'm very open.
So one thing I've always struggled with is acne. And if you are someone who is going through a phase in your life where you're trying to find products that actually benefit your skin and also help with anti-aging, I came across OneSkin. And honestly, I am not a person to try every new skincare product that hits the market. But at one point, I realized that my skin was still feeling overly dried. Every other product that I was trying at the time was not helping. And that's when I found OneSkin. And I didn't want something that was just going to be any other moisturizer. I wanted something that was actually going to help me with anti-aging, because I am a person who really cares about longevity and health. And so I started using OneSkin's OS01 peptide, which is specifically engineered to help anti-aging. And honestly, this has already helped my skin feel so much more moisturized and healthy. And this isn't just my experience. OneSkin's results are backed by 4 peer-reviewed clinical studies and over 10,000 5-star reviews. So if you're trying to incorporate a routine that is simple but also going to help you with longevity, then you can try OneSkin for a limited time with 15% off using code Leana at oneskin.co/Leana. That's 15% off with oneskin.co with code Leana. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about OneSkin, so please support our show and tell them that we sent you. I hope you enjoy the product, and let's get back into the episode.
How is the process with like grief going through that?
You know what? Like, it's really strange. My dad was so unbelievably positive when he had cancer for a couple of years. I mean, I'd honestly never heard him complain. He was the most simple, incredible man ever, the most intelligent person I've ever met in my life. He was so proud of me. He was an amazing father to all of us. And I managed to fly out to Dubai to see him a few weeks before he died. And I got to ask him lots of questions like, are you scared of dying? And he said he wasn't. And he told me his life story, and he would always tell us stories, but he told me this one story from when he drove from London to Iraq in this old crappy car, like all the way. And it was the most amazing story. And he told me about when his dad died and how they grew up in Iraq in this, like, you know, with 8 siblings. And he just had this, like, it was just, I got to have this really incredible conversation. I remember the last words he ever said to me when I left. He said, "I'm proud of you. I love you." And, you know, when he did pass, I was actually 2 days away from going to see him. So I was going to Dubai to do my live shows. And on the Tuesday and on the Saturday, he passed away. And I flew to Dubai on the Monday with all my siblings. We buried him on Tuesday morning. And on Tuesday night, I went on stage. And afterwards, everyone was taking pictures and posting them. And for some reason, this light in every picture looked like a white bird. And I was like, oh my God, he was here. And so it was really beautiful. And actually, there were, in the first few weeks, I found it hard. I kind of just threw myself into work. I knew that's what he would have wanted. I did the live shows, and I'd gone to Thailand for work. And I don't know, I just feel like he prepared me so well for his death with such an amazing grace that it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. And I also feel so strongly that, like, I am so similar to my dad. Like, we have the same minds. And I mean, he was a lot more intelligent than I was, but we are the most similar. And so I really feel like he's here. He's part of me. He's given me so much of who I am. And I'm just like, I love talking about him. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about him, because it's, you know, when I talk about him, I'm just so full of joy, and he would have loved all the attention. So thank you.
No,
for
thank
asking.
you for sharing. I guess if there's one thing that I guess the audience could take away from your dad, how was he as a person, or how did he make people feel?
Oh, that's such a nice question. Thank you. That's so kind. My dad was, he was so, thank you so much. That is so lovely to be asked that.
Yes.
He just really believed in, like, simplicity, that we don't need a lot to be happy. he was the unbelievably successful, but my God, you wouldn't know it. And he really believed in kindness, and he was so forgiving of people. He said, if anyone can just apologize, always forgive them, always give them the benefit of the doubt. And he just said, if you're ever sad, just smile, take in oxygen. Life is good. And so I think he just wanted people to work hard. He did want us to work hard, have a positive mindset, be kind, and always forgive.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
I feel like grief is so hard. I've never experienced that. So I sometimes fear it. I fear that relationship. I guess, has it brought you closer to your mom?
Yeah, all of my siblings have really, we've always been really close, to be honest. But, the number one, my dad was never happier than when we were all together and when we were getting along and supporting each other. And that was his proudest moment, was to see his children supporting each other and caring for each other. And yeah, we're so close. I'm very, very lucky. I have 3 older siblings. There's 9 grandkids. My mom, I'm actually taking all 20 of us on a holiday this summer.
Oh, wow.
And I'm so excited. And yeah, we're very, very close. So it's really fortunate, yeah.
And would you say that family is something that drives you?
Oh my God, it's like my favorite thing in the world is to spoil the people around me. Otherwise, what's it all for?
Yeah.
Like, truly, what is it for if it's not for the people around you to enjoy it with you? And so I think it's really funny. Like, my dad obviously was the dad of the house. He would always pay for things. And now, because I feel like it's my role to do what he did in many ways. And I really love that, because I feel like it's me being an extension of him. So I love when I can take my family out for a meal, and, it's really important to me.
Me too. I feel like I don't know, it makes you feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Like, it does come with a lot of responsibility and a lot of expectation, but it's kind of like you're also asking for it in many ways, right?
I love it. My sister stopped trying to fight me on it, because she's like, I know how happy it makes you. I'm like, it really does.
Step 6.
Yes.
Turn envy into inspiration. What is high vibe emotions versus low vibe emotions?
So everything in the universe has different vibrational frequencies, and thoughts and emotions also do. So you get high vibrational emotions such as love, peace, gratitude, acceptance, joy. And then you have low vibrational emotions such as envy, fear, worry, guilt, sadness, anger. And the law of attraction says that like attracts like. So if you're operating at a high vibrational frequency, you'll attract things back into your life that match that frequency. And if you're operating at a low vibrational frequency, you'll attract things back into your life that match that. And I think anecdotally, we do know this to be true. So if you wake up in a really bad mood and you're just pissed off, right? Those seem to be the days that you spill your coffee all over yourself, you forget your phone at home, your Uber cancels on you, your train is delayed. And on the contrast, the days when you wake up and you're in a great mood and you're ready for the days, aren't those the days that the client finally confirms, or you're driving to work and all the traffic lights are green? And so I think that we do have this understanding and knowing that our vibe really does matter.
People that are in this low vibrational state, would you say it's about their routine, their habits, or is it just the mindset shift that they need to have every single morning?
I think it's a culmination of so many things. I think it's what we believe. I think it's partly, it could be just how we're feeling that day in terms of have we exercised? Have we eaten well? Have we, all of that impacts our general mood. It can be what we're consuming. Of course, we know that sometimes we can leave social media and feel absolutely terrible. It might have triggered envy. It might have triggered worry. It might have triggered guilt, shame. It's so many things. It can be who we're around. Emotional contagion is a real thing. So we catch the feelings of the people around us. So if we're around negative people all the time, that will change our vibration. It will make us feel lower. So I think it's a real combination of lots of things. And I think that it's about understanding what are the ways that you can just be aware of it. Because I think, it can get toxic when people think, oh my God, I have to be high vibe all the time. And it's you don't have to be, it's how do you feel most of the time? And what can you do to impact that? Can it be changing your mindset? Can it be changing the people you hang out with? Can it be changing what you consume? practicing gratitude, we've talked about it a fair bit because gratitude has such a high vibrational frequency. It's that feeling of appreciation is magnetic. So it's like no matter what you're going through, can you just come back to gratitude? And in the book, there's some really, really fantastic practices to help you get into that. I've also, I will say, we've just launched the Manifest app, which has been years in the kind of making in terms of how long I've been wanting to do this.
Congratulations.
And it has got a gratitude practice, space for gratitudes in there. It's got meditations, affirmations, journaling. It's got everything, but use it even if not for anything else, just for the gratitude practice. And it's got daily affirmations, daily journal prompts, everything.
I love journaling. Affirmations I started off with in the beginning, and I would always do journal prompts.
Yes.
I would start with an affirmation for the day or for the night. Then it was what went well, how do I improve, and then kind of just a blank section. Do you journal every single day, or is it kind of on and off when you feel like it?
Yeah, I don't do it every day, but now I do because I do it on the app. Whereas I used to I found that I obviously, by the way, if you can journal with a pen and paper, it is better for you. It activates your prefrontal cortex. I'm not going to say it's not. It is better. But for me, what's important is can I be consistent with it? And I found that the pen to paper I just wasn't as consistent with. And so what I really like doing is I have the app on my phone, but I also have it on my desktop. And because I write so many books, typing on my laptop is just how I let free.
Yeah.
So I do my daily gratitudes on my phone because you can upload pictures with it. So as and when I experience them. So then you have a log of all your happy moments. But then I journal on my laptop in bed. I think sometimes I'm Sarah Jessica Parker in Sex and the City. And I'm la.
No, I love journaling. I sometimes will open up a doc and just write on there as well. And it's it clears your mind so much.
It's incredible. Just to make sense of what you're feeling and what you're going through. And that self-awareness and capacity to understand yourself is so incredible.
Yeah. And sometimes it just takes a little bit of a push to do it.
Exactly.
I want to talk about your journey with BDD.
Yes, body dysmorphia disorder.
What is it that you went through?
So body dysmorphia disorder is, it's actually a form of OCD. So it's an anxiety disorder. And, with OCD, we can kind of understand it. So there's a repetitive behavior and an obsessive thought, right? BDD is very similar to this, but usually the repetitive behavior has something to do with the way that you look. So it might be analyzing your photos. It could be hair checking. It could be mirror checking. But there is always a kind of recurring obsessive looping thought that comes with it. And what it is also it's an obsession with a perceived flaw. For me, I was obsessed with the fact that I was the ugliest person that had ever walked the earth. And I truly believed that I felt really guilty that people would have to look at my face. I remember thinking I was ugly from about the age of 7, looking in the mirror and be oh, I'm really ugly. And then obviously the drugs helped when I was high. When I gave up all the drugs, the BDD really came to a head. But I didn't know I had it at the time, right? I thought I just hated myself. And I thought that, in some capacity, most women are self-conscious. And I kind of judged myself, why do I care so much about the way I look? Because I'm not judging anyone else. I've never sat in front of anyone and thought, oh, if only they looked prettier. Do you know what I mean? That's not a thought I would ever have. It's not a thought that anybody has, right? And so there was a lot of self-judgment as well as this just overwhelming self-hate. And what happened was it got really bad over lockdown because of Zoom and looking yourself on camera. So what I would do is I was hosting all these webinars. It's really where I built my career. So Manifest workshops. So I kept my camera off in all of them because I didn't want anyone to have to look at my face because I thought my ugliness would be too distracting for people. And then I had a nose job and I thought if I have a nose job, that's going to be the thing that fixes me. It wasn't. I had Botox. I thought if I can just make my eyebrows a bit more lifted. I had my teeth done. I got a new set of teeth. I had changed everything I could outside, but inside I felt exactly the same. And so every time I would go on camera, I would have a panic attack before and I would have a panic attack after. And I would just be thinking, everybody is just going to be thinking about how disgusting I look. I'm so ugly. And I had created all this success in my life at work. I had 2 best-selling books. I had abundance. I had a team. I had all these incredible opportunities. And yet every second that I'm not working, I am thinking about how disgusting I am. It was exhausting, to say the least. And I just thought, I cannot live like this. I cannot live another day like this. It is so tiring. And my sister is a GP, and she said, I really think you should look at taking medication. And I was like, medication's not going to work. Like, I just have to accept the fact that I'm ugly. Like, that's what I have to do. And she was like, look, just try it. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work. I was like, honestly, whatever. Because at this point I need to do something. And honestly, within a week of taking the medication, something just completely changed and lifted. And what would happen then is that, yes, a thought might come in, but it wouldn't ruminate. And so I was able to get a hold of it. And so alongside the therapy I was doing and everything else I was trying to do to help myself, I now had like much more space for that to work. And now where I'm at with it is I would say, okay, for example, this morning, I'm a little bit hormonal. So I was like, oh, I feel disgusting today. There's no panic attacks. I'm not worried about it. I don't really care. Nobody watching this is caring about how I look. They're just caring about what I'm saying. And hopefully I'm making a positive difference in that. The difference is before, I would have thought, oh my God, I look so disgusting. I can't believe I've got to be on camera. And the anxiety would have been so overwhelming. My entire day would be consumed with self-loathing. And it's so physical. Anxiety is so physical. It's like, whoosh, it's like your whole body, you can't breathe. It's horrific. Yeah. I am so grateful now to not be living like that. But I understand how hard it is. And I think so many women experience this, but they don't have a name for it. And they think they're just really vain, or they think they're just really self-conscious, or they think that they are just really ugly, or it might be about their bodies. It can be about any part of you. So it's called body dysmorphia disorder, but for me, it was about my face. But for people, it can be any body part, anything. And it's this like debilitating and obsession, like I say, with this perceived flaw. So my heart really goes out, and it was. I didn't talk about it for a long time because I just didn't have a hold on it myself, and then I was nervous and I was embarrassed and I thought people would judge me, and then I was like, no, I know how hard it is to live with it, and if I could have heard someone talk about it, it would have made me feel so much better. And since I've spoken about it, I've only spoken about it once or twice before. I've had so many messages from people being like, thank you for helping me to understand what I have. Or some mums have reached out, thank you for helping me understand what my children have had. So now I feel like it's so important to talk about it.
So I guess for women that are going through BDD now or experiencing, even just like constantly worried about the perception of others, maybe it's to an extreme amount, or maybe it's kind of even on a small amount. I know a lot of women, like, I just had Dr. Hazel Wallace onto my podcast, which I know you also interviewed her on yours. And you spoke about how our bodies, like, we're going through many different changes. And sometimes on certain cycles, we feel prettier, or we feel like uglier. And I'm not saying that it's taking away from the BDD, but do you feel like, women have to go onto the medication?
It really is a mental health disorder. So there is no reason for it, and I think that the only way I can describe it is like, someone said to me on my team, they were like, it's like every time we put you on camera, it's like saying to someone with anorexia, I want you to sit and eat this cake right now. It's like, you can understand it when you think about it like that, because we have a better understanding, we think, of eating disorders, where you're like, you can see how overwhelming that would be. But it's the same. And I think in the question of medication, look, it comes in different extremes. And so it depends where you are at. Where I was at was constant, all day, every day, anytime I wasn't distracted. It was unlivable. And I had done all the other work. Medication alone wouldn't have helped me. I think because I also did therapy. I did CBT, I did journaling, I did exposure therapy. I say affirmations. I have built so much foundational confidence in every other area of my life. And so I was able to just have this one extra little thing that I needed chemically to help me. I don't know if that will help other people. I tell people that it has helped me because there might be someone listening that wants to go to their doctor and consider it for themselves. And it might be the thing that they need as well. But there's so many other things that you can do to build confidence. And yeah, there is a big difference. Medication really is for, a mental health disorder. It's not just if you're feeling self-conscious from time to time, we can absolutely build self-esteem and self-worth, as I do in my book, Confidence, 8 Steps to Knowing Your Worth, in many other ways.
Thank you for sharing. Your non-negotiable habits.
Yeah.
What does your daily routine look like?
Well, honestly, I basically put all my habits into the Manifest app, which is on the App Store and on Android. It's the Manifest app by Roxie Nafousi. And it's got, so it's like a morning affirmation. So there's a daily affirmation every morning when I wake up. And you can set a notification on your phone so it pops up. So it's the first thing you see. I set a positive affirmation to set myself up for the day. I take all my supplements, obviously not via the app, but I take all my supplements every day because I like to feel my best physically as well. I then do journaling on the app, breath work, meditation before I start my day, or affirmations, or choose one of them. So either there's different breath works you can do. So you follow the kind of circle to breathe in and out, inhale and exhale. So it's breath is just so powerful for changing your state. So whether you need focus, clarity, energy, or you want to, or for sleep, listening to visualization meditation or listening to an affirmation meditation to start your day is so powerful. And then in the evening, gratitude. It's just a must before bed. And I would say those are kind of my non-negotiables. And then, movement for me, I try my best with it 2 to 3 times a week. I do very low impact Pilates or yoga. I've really got into sound baths recently. Nice. I'm obsessed. I've started my peptide journey. TBC, I'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, those kind of, it's very simple. But, I make sure I get fresh air every day.
Okay, so I have a reoccurring question that I ask all my guests. What does it mean to be human?
To evolve and grow into and unlock all the potential within you.
Thank you so much, Roxy, for coming on today.
Thank you so much. That was such a fun interview. And can I just say one thing, that I am going to be in the US doing my live show for the first time in New York at the iconic town hall just off Broadway. And I am so excited on the 26th of September. So anybody that wants to come and experience the 7 Steps to Manifesting live in a life-changing 3-hour show, please, you can book your tickets now. All the info is on my Instagram.
Amazing. I'll need to come out as well.
Please! I would love that so much.
Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you?
On my Instagram, Roxie Nafousi.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much.